Hello again, it's Woda, here with another video tutorial. This time we're talking about Google Sheets and kind of the vocabulary that goes along with it. So this is kind of a terms and definitions kind of thing. Also talking a little bit about the anatomy of the sheet and just kind of how things kind of flow together. So let's get started here. The first thing I want to mention here is a lot of people call spreadsheet like this a spreadsheet, and that's kind of true, but really the more accurate way of describing what we're looking at here is a workbook. The spreadsheets are actually these little tabs that are down at the bottom, and most of the time, actually every time when you start a new workbook, you're going to have just the one sheet, and so there's that. But also you can add additional sheets, right? So these would be spreadsheets that exist within the workbook. That's just a kind of a quirky thing that when you're talking spreadsheets, as I often do, because everybody knows I'm obsessed with spreadsheets. But that's kind of a standard thing, whether you're working in Excel or even in Sheets here. So I wanted to mention that. The next thing, if you're not familiar at all with spreadsheets, you're going to see all these little grid lines and these little boxes, right? The little boxes are known as cells. All right, and these are just individual cells. There are many of them, and you can add more and do all kinds of stuff like that. And cells have an address. Each of these individual cells have a different address, just like a house in your neighborhood would have a different address. So those addresses consist of columns and rows, right? So so for example, this cell right here, let's make that a color just so we can talk about it. This yellow cell here, its address is C5, right? C5. And that's going to be important as you learn more about and use more spreadsheets, because when you create formulas, it's formulas, which by the way are just kind of like the mathematical equations or the stuff you'll see when we talk about it here in just a minute of data. So that's going to be the address of C5, right? So if you're going to add the number here and the added number here together in a formula, you would be able to say, B5 C5 equals whatever, and that would be the addition formula there. So I wanted to mention that there are cells, then there are rows, and there are columns. The rows and columns intersect to make the kind of cell address, if you want to call it that. Some other things that you might mess around with here. Sometimes if you're creating like a list and you're going to have like the header, you're going to have the student name, assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment whatever. You're going to make headers. If you have a big bunch of students here, say you have more than the 25 that are here, and you need to scroll down, it might be handy to freeze this top thing so it sticks and stays there. So the way that you do that when you freeze it is you can go to View, Freeze, First Row. You'll notice that little gray bar pop down. The way I prefer to do it, by the way, is if you can just grab it and move it, but either way will work. So now you'll see when I scroll down through here, we've got 1 and 30, right? It's freezing that. So that's another word. Freeze is another thing. Let's see. I don't want to dig into too many things here in just this video. Those are kind of the most important things that I wanted to talk about. Is the workbook, spreadsheet, cells, columns, rows, kind of how to do some different stuff there. So I'm going to do more videos on spreadsheets, obviously, because there's a lot to talk about here, and it's my favorite subject in the world because I'm a nerd. But if you have any questions about the vocabulary or anything else, I'm going to link the a Quizlet set of cards to kind of help you through if you want to study the vocabulary in the description of the video. And as always, if you ever have any questions or need some help, you can get a hold of me via email or in Google Chat at wodajr@collins-cc.edu, or I'm on Twitter at Mr. Woda. So thanks and have a great day. Bye.